Today we're gonna be taking a look at creepy, true, alone at night horror stories, animations that we're gonna be seeing, if I get scared, how true they could potentially be, and if it really did happen. So without further ado, let's check it out. Grab yourself a cup of coffee because I don't think you're gonna be sleeping tonight.
I got a brand new saxophone.
Let's go and dive into it.
This was last fall, in the first week or two of October. I'm not entirely sure how to start this, because it honestly all happened completely out of the blue.
Alright.
It was a normal Monday afternoon. I'd gotten out of work and pulled up to my home just after sunset, and usually I'll park in the garage and head inside from there. But as I pulled in, I noticed something hanging on the front door. So instead, I parked in the driveway and went up there to see what it was. Taped right on the door handle was an envelope. I knew right away it wasn't some random soliciting ad mail because it had my name handwritten with a pen on the front. Inside was a handwritten letter. It was short, but what it said I found pretty disturbing. Essentially, the person mentioned they've been interested in me and wanted to meet at a specific place and time the following day. Oddly,
That's crazy, man. She got a letter wooing her and she straight away found that oddly disturbing. That's crazy. But anyways, let's keep on hearing what the story has to say.
that was one of my days off of work, but I figured it was
Okay, that
just
is
a
odd.
coincidence. The writer of the letter didn't sign it though, so I had no idea who it was. Obviously, there was no way I was gonna go anywhere and meet with some random person. I headed inside, tore up the letter. They were interested in me, which is just a strange thing to say.
That is kind of weird to
I
say.
had no idea who they even were. Anyway, I thought tearing up the letter would help me not to stress about it too much, as there wasn't anything I could do about it. At least, not yet. After all, it could have just been some stupid prank. I went on with my night and got in bed just before 11. Like I mentioned before, I was off the following day, so I slept in and spent pretty much the entire day inside. Can't even remember what I did all day, but I know I made dinner late, like 8 or 9, and started getting ready for bed right after. I went upstairs and into the bedroom to take a long, relaxing shower. However, a little ways into it, I heard the doorbell ring. Confused who could have been outside my home at this time of night,
What?
I opened the shower curtain and listened for a minute.
Smart decision. Take a step back and, watch.
But with nothing else, I figured they left. I wouldn't have answered the door anyway. I closed the curtain and continued with my shower. As I stood in the water and tried to relax though, I started connecting the dots between the letter from yesterday and the odd doorbell ring. I knew it could have been me completely overthinking it, but also the feeling that I wasn't felt a lot stronger with every minute passing. And then I heard something. It sounded like a few light thuds, or maybe creaks, somewhere right outside the shower curtain.
Oh shit.
I froze and listened, then quickly shut off the shower and moved the curtain aside. Nothing was there. My heart was still racing as I got out, dried off, and got dressed. First thing I knew I had to do was check the front door. I crept downstairs and looked out the peephole, but saw no one standing outside. So I opened the door.
Why would you open the door, man? Just lock in, go to your kitchen, get a knife, get a baseball bat, go to bed, lock your door, check your room properly from, point A to point Z, shut your curtains so you don't get jump scared, and then, check behind the curtains as well, of course, and then lock your room door, call 911, and walk them through your entire situation, man, and wait for them to come. That's what I'd do.
Immediately, a paper slip fell from the crease in the door. Before reaching down and grabbing it, I looked around outside. The trees rustling in the wind and the crickets chirping were the only sounds, and as far as I could tell, The whole neighborhood was still, dark, and quiet.
Creepy.
Eerily so. I picked up the paper and closed the door, then unfolded it. It was a note in the same handwriting as the one from yesterday. As I read it, I could feel my blood rush and my face getting pale.
Oh,
The
damn.
writer was clearly angry about me missing the meetup earlier today. It was like they really thought I was supposed to show up. And at the end of the letter, they signed their initials this time.
DN.
DN.
I'm kidding.
This was incredibly creepy and disturbing, as it was way more than just a small note. This felt way more personal and unsettling, and much less like just some small prank. I genuinely didn't know what to do, because he was already gone, and I still didn't know who it was. Even with their initials, I had no idea. I paced around the living room for a while, a good 30 minutes at least. Even then, as I paced around in my own home, I kept getting this uneasy feeling that I was being watched.
Oh, to be fair though, that feeling is oddly really weird. Like, it's all happened to us at least once or twice in our life. Like, even like, it's that feeling, right? Like, after you watch a horror movie and then you come back home and there's no one at home, it's just you living alone. It's that feeling of like, am I being watched? And even like, even while sleeping, right? For example, personally for me, the other night, I just couldn't get sleep because I had a feeling. I thought maybe, something was watching me, which is kind of unsettling. I used to like, keep on waking up, checking around like with my eyes, go back to sleep. And wake up, it was kind of weird. And I had the worst sleep of my life, by the way, that night. So it's kind of like, I get what she's saying. That feeling is a bit unsettling. And the fact that she got a letter as well is not adding on to it. So it's not like helpful.
I'd look and check out the windows and the door over and over, but never saw anything.
Check on their table, bro.
Eventually,
Check
I
on
knew
their
I'd have
table.
to sleep. Overall, though, I decided that in the morning I would go to the police station and bring in the letter and see what they had to say about it. I started heading upstairs. As I reached the top, I suddenly heard those thumping or creaking sounds, the same ones I'd heard while in the shower, coming from inside the bedroom.
Oh god, run.
I hurried into the room. Nothing. Not a single thing in there to warrant the sounds I'd been hearing. I'll admit, they weren't concerning sounds at all. It was just with everything else going on that it made me feel
It's
like
a bit of
everything
paranoia.
could be something.
No, that's
even
fair.
though it likely was nothing at all.
That's fair.
I closed and locked my bedroom door just in case. Then checked the closet and every other spot in the room to make me feel better. And just before getting in bed, I remembered one other place. I never went out there, but there was a small balcony attached to this master bedroom. I was a private person and always kept the blinds closed, so I often forgot it was even there. I walked over and pushed aside the first few blinds so I could get to the door handle. I didn't even have to grab it to see that it was already unlocked.
Oh shit, run.
There was no way I
Run.
would like this. However, I didn't get a chance to open the door because just a second later, a figure moved from the corner of the
Oh fuck. That is actually kind of terrifying. That is pretty scary, man.
outside balcony. I jolted my eyes at him, seeing he was staring at me as he moved closer to the other side of the door. I turned and sprinted out of the bedroom. I heard the balcony door open as I was leaving. I ran for the closest neighbor I knew would help me. The man didn't seem to be able to find where I ran off to. Police were at my house and
Holy
searching around
shit.
within 10 minutes. I was still incredibly nervous because I knew how awful it'd be if the man got away. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. They never found him. Me and a couple officers started going over the time frame of everything taking place, and it's pretty apparent that the man broke in while I was in the shower. Likely,
Creep.
the sounds I'd heard while in there were from him opening and closing the balcony door. where he went to hide. So since I'd heard those same sounds again, he must have at some point gone back inside the house while I was pacing around thinking about the letter, which makes that whole feeling of me being watched even more disturbing. And most of all, what I find really unsettling is that from the short glimpse I got from the man looking at me, I felt like he looked oddly familiar. Not like someone I knew, but maybe just someone I'd seen in passing at some.
Oh, it's like, you know, someone you see on the bus every single day or something, and like, I guess they just follow you home and like fucking stalk you like that, but it's fucked up. It's like someone you keep on seeing around campus or around school, but there's a reason for that because they're stalking you or some shit like that. Fucked
some
up.
point before.
Fucked up.
It kills me that I can't figure out where or when I'd seen him. It really could have been anything, like just passing him at a grocery store, which makes it way more disturbing.
What? Why is he standing so zestily, man?
that was enough to get the man to follow and stalk me and form this dangerous fixation on me.
Creepy.
A whole lot more could have happened that night, and all I can be is thankful that I got away mostly unharmed.
That's good.
It's been almost a year, and so far nothing else has come up. No notes, no weird sounds, nothing. I hope it's done. But even now, I'm still constantly looking over my shoulder.
Fair enough, man.
Unsure who's watching.
Fair enough. Yeah, that one is 100% like really, really weird. Like, you know, there are people like this in the world as well. It's like, that's what makes it even a lot more scarier because there's such a real tone to it that it makes it a lot more scary. So it sucks that lady had to go through that, and it's rather unfortunate. But take care, keep a baseball bat by a bedside, and you know, keep a can of pepper spray ready to rock and roll.
I was driving from LA all the way back to the East Coast.
Damn.
I had taken the road trip to see
That's a long ass drive.
bunch of friends for a wedding and ended up staying for over a week. Because I stayed a little bit longer, I only had 4 days to get back home before my next shift at work. So I was really pushing it with how long I was driving.
Why does he look like Ozil right now?
It was 1 a.m. and my eyes were killing me.
Fair enough.
It felt like my eyelids weighed 100 pounds. The only caffeine I had was a hot coffee from a gas station 3 hours back, so not very hot anymore. And I was in the middle of nowhere. It felt like a dead highway, nothing on either side of it, and barely any cars or trucks around. Just the occasional car speeding past me, only to disappear down the road 30 seconds later. As I tried to keep my eyes open, I noticed again headlights coming up behind me. They weren't very bright, so it must have been a pretty old car, without those crazy bright LEDs everyone has nowadays. The car was also going a lot slower than most that passed by. This one took forever to catch up to me.
By the way, here's a fun fact for you lot. If a car has been like slowly behind you for like I'd say around like 3 hours or maybe like 2.5 hours, they're following you. Keep that in mind.
After tailing behind for a minute, it merged into the other lane and started to pass, making sure I stayed in my lane to let them through. But after a while of them not actually passing, I looked to my left to see what they were doing. The car was matching my speed right beside me. Some old, dusty, dark red car, and their window was down. From what I could see, there was just one man in the car.
A crackhead.
Driving, obviously. But he was also staring at me.
Crackhead.
I had my window up still, so I don't know if he actually could see me, with it being dark and with the reflections and all. But he was looking at my window as if he could. The man didn't try to hide it either. His light was on inside his car, so I could see him clear as day. He looked red-eyed and kind of drunk, just from his expressions and movements. But he remained at the same speed and just stared at me. It really freaked me out. I tried slowing down, but he slowed down too. I slowed down even more, and again he matched my speed. So then I slowed down an absurd amount, like down to 25 miles per hour on the highway. And finally, he didn't copy me and just held his pace and kept driving. He disappeared down the road a minute later. I didn't know what the hell to think of that. Maybe he was a creep, maybe drunk, or honestly, maybe both.
Both, yeah.
Only a couple minutes after whatever that was happened, I was back to struggling to stay awake. I knew I needed some caffeine, and possibly even some rest for a minute. 15 minutes down the road, I pulled off the highway and into a really small rest stop. It looked like just some bathrooms and a coffee machine. No other cars were there. I parked and got out, walking up to the machine and getting a coffee, hoping it'd be enough. By the time I got it and headed back to my car, another car was
Oh
pulling in.
no.
I instantly saw it was the same old red car from the highway earlier. How the hell was he pulling up behind me again? I never passed him, at least not knowingly, and there was nowhere else to pull
Tweaker
off.
wants you, bro. The tweaker wants you.
He would have had to pull into the grass off the highway pretty far out and discreetly wait for me to pass. Otherwise, I'd have seen his car on the side of the road. I got in and looked in my mirrors for a second. He didn't pull in behind me though. He went right up next to me, like he did on the highway. I could just feel his eyes staring at me. Too much
Drive.
to ignore. I
Drive.
looked over, and sure enough, that's what he was doing. Staring right at me with those red, unsettling eyes.
And the and the pube stash.
What did this dude want from me? I turned my car on, but the guy started talking. He was yelling something, trying to get my attention through the window. I looked over again, and he reached over and opened his passenger door, motioning for me to get in, with this disturbingly friendly expression on his face.
Is he a bent tweaker?
I started to pull away, glancing over one more time and seeing the instant shift into a dead stare. I got back onto the highway, but the guy followed.
Creep.
He kept trying to do the same thing where he'd merge into the other lane.
Speed, dude. Sometimes you gotta speed on the highway to be able to avoid creeps like this, man.
And match my speed.
Come on, man.
But this time, I wasn't having it.
There you
I
go.
was getting a little more aggressive, trying to keep him away from me. But he matched my energy, also getting more aggressive. I could have sworn he even tried to pit maneuver me several times, but I braked just quick enough before he could hit my car. Eventually, I saw one of those emergency vehicle U-turn spots. A pass-through to get onto the other side of the highway that went in the opposite direction. In a rather dangerous and illegal split-second decision, I turned onto it before he could even react and follow me. As I safely got onto the other side of the highway and sped in the other direction, I looked in my mirrors. I felt my heart continue racing for a moment. For a second, his brake lights turned on, but it seemed he gave up, as a moment later, his lights faded out and continued the other way. I was shaking for the next little bit, finding a gas station and just taking a break for an hour to
Right.
cool off and to keep distance between me and that guy. During that time, I put in a tip for the police, mainly saying I thought he was just a drunk driver driving dangerously, but it didn't come up to much of anything. That was until 4 days later, well after I'd made it back home.
That's a sick
Having
house,
time-
by the way. That's a very cool house.
To actually breathe, I looked up if the cops ever caught any drunk drivers on that road recently, thinking I might find the dude's mugshot or something. But what I found made this whole thing more disturbing than I ever could have imagined. A day before I left LA, there had been a disappearance of someone on that very road. They found their car in the grass, and the person was just gone. No traces. The only clue they had was from a different driver on the road, who mentioned they saw a rusty red car driving erratically around the car that was later found abandoned in the grass. Reading the whole case almost felt like deja vu. It was exactly like what I experienced that night, only I made it out safely. Had things gone any other way, that night could have taken a really disturbing turn, and I likely would have disappeared too.
That is pretty terrifying. Like, yeah, it's a good thing you took that U-turn, you know, safety first, and hopefully that guy is caught, because again, shit like this happens all the time in our world. We live in a strange world, guys. We live in a really strange world, and the world, unfortunately, is not all sunshine and rainbows. So yeah, you guys gotta take care of yourselves, man, because if you don't, shit like this can happen or could happen to you, and God forbid, I hope it never happens to anyone ever, but like, so yeah, guys, if you guys like that video, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below, and make sure to join the Sid Parikh Reddit r/Sid Parikh. I'll see you guys soon.